Maybe. Well, hello. We don't have anybody on yet. But that's okay because we're a few minutes early because we're trying to throw you off a little bit. Classic counter charge. We're always preparing for the counter charge. So,
Plus, beauty of YouTube, right? You can watch it later.
Yeah, and if you're watching later, there we go. We got somebody on. So thanks to whoever just jumped on, and don't forget. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, make sure you drop comments. We can share your comments unless they're
a different browser.
Yeah,
got us our one viewer.
Exactly. Well, what have you guys been up to, Matt? I haven't talked to you in like 2 months, man. What's going on down under?
Well, we're organising a bit of a last minute in 4 weeks 2-day event. Actually, it'll probably be smallish, but we're doing a lot. So I've been a lot happening at work, but otherwise, doing that. Nick, one of the guys, he's been working hard on some new tournament software, so we're giving some feedback on that. It's not far off. Then I've been working through the Abyss, 1 regiment to go till I got about 2,500 points. Juggling what I did. You'd be proud of me, Rob. Big reorganisation of my hobby storage area. We all know you love a bit of organisation.
100%.
So I put some shelves in and attempted to make them level in the cupboard. With some success.
I've come to the realization I have too much stuff, guys. I literally I've been cleaning the garage
for the
last 2 weeks. I feel like I'm getting into hoarder territory now because I've got I have the bonus room up here, which is above the garage, right? But there's models and stuff, boxes all stacked up on the stairs because I don't have any room. It's like, oh my god. So I don't know. I guess I gotta buy a bigger house. Actually, we were talking about getting a storage unit. We were talking about getting. I've always been like no storage unit, but I think we might do that just to get the terrain out of here. But what's been going on with you, Jeremy?
Well, back from Masters, that was the event itself is a lot to do, but really it's the weeks ahead of time when you're like, oh, I need to work, but I also want to finish this, so I'm going to kind of be working, but really you're focused on getting your event. So that's been a real thing, is just trying to get back in the scheme of things for work-wise. Just getting used to that. I also am working on a big hobby room cleanup, which is in mid, as you can see from the mess here.
Wow, I couldn't even sleep in that room. It's so messy.
Yeah, well,
no, it would keep me up. My OCD would be like, get up and clean that pile of card boxes over there with all those Star Wars Unlimited cards.
Yeah, you got a problem, Rob. It's not that bad.
No, to be fair,
the rest of the room is very clean and organized. It's just everything is.
I don't want to show you. You know what? I'll show you guys. This is this space at its worst. Look at this. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, wait, you're a disgrace, Rob.
For sure. No, look at this. Look at my toy section. It's ridiculous. Just piling them up on the floor.
Yours is worse than Jeremy's.
I know.
Come on, man.
And you haven't even seen the garage. This is like the least of it, man. The garage is in a really bad state, so it's camera fixed.
So I've been just doing that, getting caught back up at work, just getting in the flow of things, getting all the feedback from Masters. Not so much. The feedback from Masters is interesting because it's really not so much for us because we're not going to be running Masters again for who knows how long. It's really to help.
It's for the poor sons of bitches that are running after you.
Yes, who are going to go next. So it's
you have to follow that up.
What did we do that people liked?
Yeah.
What did we do that people maybe didn't like?
Right.
And then how can we take these experiences from here and move on to the Minneapolis Masters? So that's really what it's been through, is just getting back in the flow of things. Working on Northern Alliance, working on some MCP stuff, just working on a little bit of everything. but I haven't really gotten the full paint legs underneath me since back from Masters. But
I'm right there with you. So we should mention, hey Adam, there's our 2-time Masters joined us, so that's amazing. And then I believe this is probably Paul Collins. Am I right?
That'll be Paul Collins. Yep.
Yeah. So
fresh from recording Rapkin Slave.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. I saw the video and I'm like, ooh, they look like they're intense. Very, very intense. Well, let's kick us off.
That's what I do, Rob. I do intense recordings.
You do. You know, it's funny. I will say what was interesting is that I think we recorded like 12
just so you
hours.
guys can't give me shit. Here are.
Did you listen to the episodes?
Yeah. This unit's almost done.
Oh, I thought I was gonna say you could have said it was done, and we could have been that's great. Yeah.
No, this is almost done. I have there's one more.
We got 3 guys on there and a tree.
Yeah. There's gonna be another one to go back on here. So these guys are almost done, and then let me show you.
That's funny. Yeah, Paul, I'm curious to see because I know inside baseball here. I don't know. But I'm just curious to see if they make the cut.
Give me so much. All these guys giving me shit. This is my harem.
I love it. I love it. I actually like that model a lot. I've got a couple before it was now it's 3D printable. Yeah, it's a great model.
So making some Northern Alliance progress is happening slowly but surely.
Well, I think just wanted to give a shout out. We ran TNT. I don't know if people know this, but TNT stands for Todd's Nashville Tournament. It's been mostly affiliated with NashCon here in Nashville, which is an HMGS event, which HMGS is what? Historical Miniature Wargaming Society. So it's an organization that pushes and supports, from a community perspective, historical war games. But I think everybody knows that, it's hard to run a big event if you don't have some of the fantasy guys there, some of the science fiction stuff, some of the oddball stuff. So we've been running TNT there, and I just wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Kevin Drury, who I think this is the first event that he's won. And Kevin, if you listen to this later, please correct me if I'm wrong, but congratulations to Kevin. He's always at the top. I think even at like Kings of Memphis, he was on the 1, 2, or 3 table. He was up there. But he and you know what? Anybody that can knock George off his pedestal, I'm happy with that. That's fine. Nobody deserves to come in second better than George O'Connell. So hopefully George is listening because I'm sure he'll laugh at that. But I just huge congratulations to Kevin. Only thing is a little bit smaller event than we've had in the past. So I think it's time for a little shot in the arm because that's such a great event. With for those who don't know, it has a wrestling theme. So it's got a wrestling ring, it's got a cage, and I don't know if they had 2 this year, but they at least had 1. And you get the top table or a table gets put in the ring and you get to play in it. It's super cool. So, and people come dressed as their favorite wrestlers and stuff. So,
some off-season marketing tour. Get it back in the zeitgeist of
one of the things I was lamenting is if you look at the list, it's all normal players. It's almost all Tennessee with a little bit of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and we used to draw Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Midwest, and we're just not getting that anymore. So, c'est la vie, right? It is what it is. Do you guys have any events coming up this year, or are you guys all done for the year?
No, so we've got a local 2-dayer in a month, which will be smallish.
Are you going to win that? Is this the Act of War?
Unlikely because Max is coming. Sorry?
Oh, yeah. My money's on Max. Not only is he more handsome than you, Matt, he's a better player. But I will say the handsome stuff is just a little bit. He just outshines you a little bit. But outshines you a lot on the table, I bet.
Yeah. So we've got that. And then I won't, well, I think I'll qualify, but I'm very likely not to be there at Masters in Brisbane in November.
How far? Give me a reference to how far of a drive.
If you were driving, I don't even know. I haven't driven from here where I am now, at 14, 15 hours. I'm just not going to have the time with work,
Yeah. I mean, if you could pop in with a flight, maybe, there's always.
Yeah, I'll have a new place being built then.
Because you got the new setup there.
Yeah, just a lot of things to go.
Yeah, I have Michigan GT on the cards in October, so I've got to get ready for that.
Yeah,
and then we have Forge GT, which is obviously we're going to talk about 4th edition tonight and what you guys think in terms of when it should release. And I think events like Forge are in November, right? Like that's a class, it's probably not going to show up in September, but November, December, January. I mean, certainly that could be in the realm of possibility. So, and to be fair, the last time we did, I think it was going into edition 3.5. It was the same situation where we did one more event with the old version and we played 2,700 points. And I think this time they're playing 2,500 points with a free character. So, I guess
like
it's
a swan song goodbye to the old edition.
Yeah. Well, we've got a bunch. Go ahead.
We got Bad Kings in October coming up. That's October 4 or 5 probably. So that will be the next travel one, and then the Jackalope is in November. That's the one where you get the free monster, and that's in Reno, and that's a super fun tournament to go to. The only problem with that is I don't like to drive in the snow.
Yeah.
So, and it's the Sierras. So that one I'm always like the Friday before or Wednesday before I'm deciding if I'm going to go to.
So, Matt, do you think Jeremy's got a pair of snow chains for his tires? I bet you he doesn't.
No, I don't drive in the snow. I don't. And you're right. I do not.
Right, because I think they're required by law. That's the Sierra Nevadas, right?
Depending. It depends on the weather. They have like where they're required, where you have to get them checked, or so there's different like tier levels of how bad
the higher you go.
Yeah. So and it's just something I don't like to do. I don't like to drive in the snow.
But even if he doesn't have it, I was going to say Stacey will provide.
Yeah, she'll rent you a car with snow tires.
She looks after our man. She looks after our man.
Yeah,
she does. She does. This is
I'm very grateful for her. I'm very grateful.
I am too. So is the loose caboose. No, I'm just kidding. So.
Well, we're gonna talk tonight. We're gonna share some of the feedback that we've gotten on our August topic of the month, which those don't remember. This is the post, right? So, when do you want Mantic to release 4th edition and why, right? And we're gonna get into some of the comments, but I think before we get to the comments, I think it'd be interesting to share with you the classic. You guys are all like that, right? Is that like a requirement to just be like a sarcastic lark in Australia? Because I think you're all like that.
You know what? Listening back to the Masters episodes, Rob, it's just made me realize is you're not unlike it, but you actually just deliver it without the sound of sarcasm.
Right. Well, what's funny is there are times.
It was in the first episode where you said to go, how'd you get on the team with you? The only one with a heartbeat.
What's funny is I am trying to be sarcastic, but I don't think people are picking it up sometimes. No. So so it's very dry delivery.
It's all those Drongo bogans down there in Australia.
Well, that's Jeremy, right. You'll have to listen to the Raccoon Slaves review because I have left a very Australianism in there for you when I go
that's
there.
Amazing.
Yeah. I got to make sure we don't go crook, or we dropped our face like a dropped pie, or a durry muncher. I hate those durry munchers.
You almost need a vocabulary lesson here. But I did want to, before we dive in and talk about some of the specific comments, I do want to just share, roughly pulled out, we had about 42 people that actually read the question and actually gave us a real answer, right? We had several people that just said, it's coming out in XYZ. It's like, well, that wasn't the question. The question is, when do you want it to come out? Not speculation. But the takeaway here that I think is interesting is that, of the 42 people that responded, roughly 60-ish% said 2026 or when it's ready. And I would kind of lump those together, right? Like, because you'll see the comments, but the people that are talking about when it's ready, they've got very specific feedback, reduce the number of proofreading mistakes, right? The typos and the like, making sure that we're getting plenty of time for playtesting, making sure extra models are available. And really, 2025, there's only about 17 of them, and really they kind of fall into two camps. There's the one camp that just says as soon as humanly possible, but there's also the camp that said around Christmas, so we can get it rolling for Christmas presents. So with that, I think maybe let's go in and we'll start rocking and rolling through some. Oops, remove that, add that here.
Yeah, obviously Jeremy will have to be a bit careful given he's been testing, although I don't think all the play testers have been privy to timing, have they, Jeremy?
I'm just basically going to be here, to
You're not confirming or denying.
Support you guys, but yeah, no, there's not much I can say in regards to this. But I am really curious to hear what people think, because I think it's good when you're playtesting something, you have your own opinion about something, right, as a playtester, but it's always good to connect with the wider audience, for those who aren't involved, what they think as well. So I'm curious to hear what.
Yeah, for sure. I think what I'm most interested in is there's a lot of Alessio hype, right? And he has produced some very good games. He didn't even really produce second or third, did he? Like, he wasn't even that involved.
He was probably more involved with second, but by third he was completely out.
So it's going to be very interesting to be like, how well has he captured the spirit of the game that we love? Which, from what I've heard, the spirit is absolutely there.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think, like, in second, if I recall correctly, he did the rules, but then the rules committee kind of handled the balancing of the armies itself. So if that holds true, that Alessio took on specifically by himself the rule set, I think we'll be in a very good place with the rules. I think a potential concern is, the main rules, right? But then the potential concern would be, how well did we get through the different armies to consolidate them, to clean them up, and to give them that's the concern. But let's jump in. Let's start with you want to kick us off with Mr. Cheeky Paul Collins?
Yep. So Paul said, how about Saturday 2 p.m.? I've got nothing else planned.
Amazing.
And to be honest, I wouldn't mind at this point. And there's been a lot of chat, hasn't there, about, they really need to tell us. But, but the problem 100%. Is, as soon as they tell us, purchasing dries up completely. Yep. At the moment, they would still be getting drip purchasing. Right. But yeah, we'll see.
I agree with you. I think, and it was interesting because Tom Annis, or Anus, he's known in some circles, has made a very, very unusual post for Tom. Tom is not usually the worrisome type, but, definitely had a lot of angst coming out of his anus. So Dave Fanning says, this is a good example of what I was talking about. So we got another one that doesn't get the joke, unfortunately. It is Annis. We know. I guess that joke will eventually get tired, right, Jeremy?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But since you started it, it's all your fault.
Tom can. I don't even remember that. I'd have to go. That was like a 3.5-hour black hole of I don't remember how we got through that matchup cast. So if I pronounce the name that way, I apologize. But
Dave just basically he sums up a lot of people that have said, really do this when it's ready, right? I also like that he's pushed out the idea that make sure that we're lifting our hype game up, because this is really an opportunity to really. It's not just the rules. There's there's opportunities for new minis, new lore, and just really give us the total package. Next up, we've got Idiot Proof Dalek. He's one of the ones that say, as soon as possible. He says I think he's playing the old world. Kings of War has had nothing happening for ages, so my intention is wander to other games. It's a fair point, right? We got a Clash of Kings book that some people didn't really find all that effective, right? This is another. You got a lot. I will say, I will continue to say that Australia punches above its weight all the time.
Yeah. So,
do you want to take Steven's comment, Matt?
Oh, I'm just having trouble with the screen. Hold on.
I got it. I'll take it. Steven
come back in.
Yeah, Steven just says, hey, what about the 10th of November?
Oddly specific.
Oddly specific, yeah. But he's one of the ones that brings up the fact that you can be close enough to Christmas where now, it can be if you have a war gamer that plays Kings of War in your family, now it's an opportunity to
and I think like what the previous person said, Rob, I think is also really important. Like, a new edition is a great time to bring people in, right?
Yeah.
So I think whenever it comes out, I think community members and us, I think it's important to try to highlight that a new edition is coming out, because that is a great time to get new people in, people who have attritioned out, get them get it back in the the mind of gamers. It's a good opportunity for that.
Next up, we got Max K. He says December 25th, a Christmas miracle and just in time for Clash. You know, I would be, for the Australians out there, I'd be curious. Yeah, I would be like, what would be your take, Jeremy, if you have Clash? I think their Clash is in January. If you got a book on the 25th, would you want to play?
Probably not. I mean, that's a good question. Is like when new editions could go out, our new army books or codexes or whatever game system, right? Something new comes out. When do you institute that in competitive play? And I always felt like you need at least a month or 2 months, but to let people, yeah, you know, whatever,
build a new army potentially, right?
A couple of weeks is pretty tight, right? Especially if
I mean, let's be honest, we got to give Adam at least 9 months to get a new army ready.
Who, Adam Ballard? You mean Tim Lonis to paint him a new army?
Correct.
To get ready.
Oh, we're playing the add Matt and add. We're both hitting add, and I'm adding, and he's removing and back and forth. But well, next up we've got I'm going to say Casper. He just sentiment is when it's ready. You know, he's thinking next year rather than this year. Not a bad thought. Next up we've got Justin Berg, another one of the when it's ready camp. But please actually play test. Unlike the Twilight Kin, Command Dice, or progressive missions, the new edition feels like it's make or break for a lot of the player base. So please stop imitating GW. I mean, to this point, I don't see them imitating. Now, let me just say this: if they were to decide to go codexes, right, and start giving us like releases every month, yeah, you could argue you're starting to go down the or worse, you know, because we have this digital companion. If they made us buy a physical book to get it in companion, which I don't think they could now because of the way it's out, like that would be another one, life imitating art, right? Like GW, because in GW you've got to buy the rule book or the army book, and when you buy that, you only unlock your specific list in their list building app, which isn't very good. So, but again, we have another one of those folks that are saying when it's ready, and you know, specifically calling out play testing. I think one of the things that I would point out though is with Clash of Kings books, we have had a history of those are not always out of the box done rule sets. We've always had some trial stuff in there, whether it was heavy flyer, in this case Command Dice. So, you know, and in terms of missions, I mean, it doesn't really matter because if there's something, you know, that they don't like bluff tokens, nobody plays bluff tokens around me, at least. I don't know, Matt, if you guys are using those in Australia.
Yeah, the bluffs kind of started as unpopular, but over the course of the edition slowly became a bit more popular as a change up. I mean, I think one thing with this is people are going to have to get used to is there are going to be people unhappy, you know.
Well, go back to this for a second, right? Let's look at this for a second. Half the people are going to be unhappy. If it comes to 2025, these folks are really happy. Most likely these folks are not. If it comes to 2026, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I also just mean from some changes point of view.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Whenever there's anything new or any changes, some people are going to love them and some people are not going to love them, you know, and I think that's consistent with any game system you look at, right? A new edition comes out and some people love it. Some people, you know, love parts of it or whatever. And I think you see that throughout throughout our industry, right?
I love that you guys in Australia stick to the bit, man, because Andrew says this Saturday at 2 p.m. I mean, it's so oddly specific. Not as specific as Turk, I think. Or was it no, it wasn't Turk. The guy that said was it Tuck? Tucky said November 10th. Like that's such a random date. Like, or maybe it's not, you know what? Maybe he knows what's going on. Maybe he's been Ouija board in it.
Well, the other really interesting thing about when you talk about hype is that by not having official hype in some ways creates its own hype. Like it might be angsty, right? But people are kind of building up to when are we going to know? When are we going to know?
You know what's funny though? You could argue that in this mode that we're in now, that it is like the old GW, because GW used to never give us anything, right? Like they're just like, it's going to come when it's going to come. Oh, it's going to come in 2026, and it was always like, you guys remember the days of like Portent and some of those, what Sword and Bolter, is that what it was called? I think, but some of those websites where people were it was all about speculation.
Bell of Lost Souls, right?
Correct. And now, like, I think the Warhammer community does a pretty good job of communicating what's coming out, and actually they understand the hype train and they feed it. Whereas, so in that regard, maybe we need to be more like GW in terms of communication. But you're absolutely right, Matt, when you said that earlier. Like, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because as soon as you say it's coming XYZ, it just completely halts current purchasing. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to give you all the details. So people are going to wait. I'm not going to buy this new army, and they're going to hold off on things. I'm going to wait and see if there's a new 2-player starter set. I'm going to see if there's a new army. So we got Zach, who joined us for an episode not too long ago from the Mantic Lore podcast. He says, if it's ready, I like that. He put that on there. Announce it early January 2026 to be released late March 2026. New Year's resolutions hype, Christmas money, tax return not far off. 3 months is enough time to spread the news and set up events and ship boxes. He brings up some good points, but this is still my pet peeve with Mantic. Stop giving us ship dates. Tell us when it releases. So what that means is you ship it to you ship it to all these stores, and it releases on that day, right? I'm so frustrated, like, where everything is like, oh, I mean, we just went through it with the Banished box, right? Like, the UK obviously got it first because they're in the UK. And then, like, 3 weeks later, we get it. Yeah. I mean, let me put a comment there. That's show. Yeah. So, Adrian, I agree. Yeah, it's well thought out, right? I'll say my speculation to the end. I don't think it's going to be March 2026. I think that's probably, I'll just say, if I had to speculate, I would say Q1 would be my guess, right? But I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any inside baseball here. Steve Evans brings up. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think we really need a fourth. But if I had to choose, I'd say just after Clash of Kings UK, ready to start a new season in 2027 with a few months to get used to the new rules. I mean, I guess that's referencing Masters. I mean, if I was Mantic, to be honest, I wouldn't care about anyone's seasons. Do it when it suits you.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter. And to be fair, the U.S. Masters has 64 players. I would say that's not a significant impact. Like, the reality is, well, you know what? To be fair, I think on this side of the pond, I think we already kind of know. Well, at least I think everybody has an opinion on what a cutoff date should be, because we've been through it with 2nd to 3rd to 3.5, right? And I don't know what that. I mean, Jeremy, what would likely be cutoff for you?
Just my own personal opinion.
Yeah, to use 4th edition next year in Masters, which next year is in June or July? July, right? July.
I think it would need to be out by the spring at the latest. If it was beyond that, because I think you need, for an event like Masters, you need 3 or 4 months probably. Not to say that that's when it's coming out or not coming out, but just in a general abstract. Right. And I think it's tough. I think that there's always been this tension between listening to of what people want from the game, right? Of hardcore competitive players, your basement game players, your players from different communities. And I think that often there's been this argument that tournament players, they're they lead their local community. So like a tournament like Masters is full of 64 players, but those 64 players go back to their home regions, and usually they're all tournament organizers themselves, right? But I think in our game where that tension is not as easy as that is how many of those people are running tournaments in which people play with models or things purchased from Mantic, right? So I think that's where we get this tension, right, between people who are really invested in the game and invested in the game system, and those people who are invested in Mantic as a company. And sometimes I think they can cross over. Right, those different populations can cross over, and then other times I think there's a little bit of I think people in different groups feel like they have ownership, like this is my game and my opinion should be listened to, and in the end it's not our. I mean, we play it and we love it, but in the end this is a product that is owned by a company that is trying to make a product so that they can sell things and make a profit, pay their employees, who then pay their gas station and restaurants, and on down the rabbit hole it goes in this world of capitalism. So I think that's a challenge Mantic has in trying to find that sweet space of designing a product that pleases masses. So I don't think it's easy to say what is Mantic's most important audience. You know what I mean?
But it would be remiss if we don't acknowledge the fact that the people, whoever that is, that's their customer, right? You know, I mean, they're going to listen to the people that are spending the money, right?
Irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, it's important if there's people that like buy the rule book and they're contributing to the game, growing the scene. They're important, but you know, I mean, same thing with game stores, right? Or third party company, like online stores and stuff. I mean, they got to listen to those guys.
Yeah, it's just interesting. Let's say you have a local community, right? 12 or 15 player tournaments. They're meeting 3 times a week. You know, really vibrant Kings of War tournament scene, but in that 15 to 20 player range, right? But they all play with 3D printed models. Yeah. Let's say in that same community, there's 2 guys in their basement playing who will play with all Mantic stuff. Now, who is to say that the awareness that the other group brings to the game system, so even though they're not maybe buying Mantic models, they're creating a space for it to be played, they're creating an awareness about it as a thing, but yet hard dollars aren't going to Mantic, but hard dollars are going from the 2 guys in their basement, but really, who's doing more for the company at that point?
You don't know.
That's hard. That's a hard question to answer.
And it's been like that for a long time. They've made the supposition that there's more garage gamers than people we see out in public playing the game, right? That's been their, and they obviously, I mean, I got to take them at their word because they know what they're selling and who they're selling it to, right? Yeah. I think the point that just tack on to what you just said, Jeremy, no matter what they do and who they listen to more than others, some people are going to be unhappy. The trick, though, is to make most of the people happy and find new ways to bring new people into the game that were not unhappy, that were unhappy before.
They had no opinion before because they had no idea what Kings of War was.
But now have a favorable opinion to come and try Kings of War. Because you know, this is all through here that people are talking about, that if you have a sea change, like an edition change, you know, and my assumption here, no inside baseball here, but this is not going to be evolution. I think this will be revolution more than we've had in the past. This is an opportunity, this is a good opportunity for you to jump in, right? It's a good stepping stone.
And I think the game's been out long enough, Rob, that now we've had general cyclical temporal attrition, where before, when the game was 3 or 4 or 5 years old, it was all the same players who made the switch. Now that we're entering year 10 or whatever, we've had people who have gone away, come back, gone away. But what I would love to see more of is we don't see as many brand new players.
Well, we're getting more of them, though. The people that come and say, I have not played a single tabletop game. This is my first one. And my first question is, you went with ranks and flanks out of the box? Like, wow. Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about revolution working, it was AOS. You know,
yeah,
like
100%.
100%. You know,
yeah,
I mean, far more
not for me. It's not for me, but it works. Yeah, I mean, huge people playing it. So, well, let's keep going. You want to go with Michael?
Yeah, let's go, Michael Jung. Anyone not saying right now this second in my hand is clearly lying. Danny Bird says after they've checked for typos, this is the first book in the true age of AI, so I hope there would be less typos than ever.
Oh, God bless America. I hope so, man. I will say I do a lot of technical writing in my profession, and nothing cheeses me off more than lazy proofreading, right? Like the stuff that your spell checker would get, right? Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So next up we've got Mike Rossi. He says, I agree with the sentiment to release fourth when it's ready. For me, that means when they've streamlined the rules, finished up new army construction method, hopefully no more spam lists, and play tested all the revised army lists. If there are any large changes to any of these 3 pillars of the game, I really hope that these changes are thoroughly play tested. If changes are coming, the player base has to see an obvious upside to those changes. In the end, the wider gaming community does not like 2 things: existing rule issues and change. Well, let's just say it. People don't like change. I have a master's in organizational management. Like, that's rule number 1. The worst problem with change is people. They don't like it, right? So, but he did say, also, I hope the lore progresses well. Go buy Arne's Price. If you haven't, you should go get Mike's book. It's fantastic. And we did do a lore master. I believe we did. There's been so many episodes, Matt and Jeremy. I sometimes forgive me, I forget sometimes what we've done because you guys, we're like a couple weeks away from like episode 800.
That's
like,
crazy.
Mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling to me.
I feel like we just did 500 because I remember that one.
Yes, I did too, and that was about the time that like Mark used to be on the show, right? I think in episode 500. So yeah, it's crazy. Well, we got Tom Freeman that says only when play testing is complete and new models are ready, it needs to make a splash. Otherwise, what's the point? Fantastic point here. Like if you're gonna, why do it just for the sake of change? You've got to get something out of it. Both the company and the players, right?
They need a killer two-player set to go with it.
Look, if Ronnie's not listening, but if he was, if I don't see 2 new armies coming out with 4th edition, you're doing it wrong. You have an opportunity. Or at the very least, give me 1 new army and finish 1 other army completely. Give me that Commandant. Put some salamanders in the box. Come on. Give me some of the Lancers, right? Plastic Lancers.
Yeah.
Could be sweet.
That'd be nice. Nathan Arnold says, not at all before it's ready. It needs more testing than Mantic thinks it does. Source, every other edition.
You know what's funny though about what Nathan says there? It's just like playing Green Lady. A good Green Lady player knows it. Okay, if you think you should charge now, you should go one more turn. Same thing with releasing an edition. If you think it's ready to go in December, make it January.
I don't think there's any chance that happens. That it gets long.
Oh no.
The sensible path is taken.
I'm sure they've got. I don't know, but I assume they have something picked out for a date.
Uwe Jan, when it has been placed, tested, and proofread thoroughly.
Amen. We got Bob Nelson says in time for Christmas, so I know what to buy everybody this year. Yeah. Then we've got Tom Annis. So here we go. The angst is starting. Has Mantic ever confirmed that a 4th edition is coming? I don't think they have. Well, actually, there's a couple sources I would point to. On Tabletop, they did an extensive interview with Ronnie. He does communicate that 4th edition is in the works. He was also on Tabletop Miniature Bedroom Battlefield. Another podcast. Very good podcast. I'll put some show notes in the next time we do an episode. But he does confirm it on there as well. And it's from the guy's Scottish, so I'll listen to it. If you got a Scottish accent, it's even better than Australian, dude. Sorry,
man. Yeah, it does it for me
for sure.
I think it is cool to see Ronnie in these other places besides just the talking to the faithful. I think it's good that he gets out there into spaces to talk to players. You know, I think it's really good when he's talking to, not just the people who already love Mantic, but other gamers.
We've said this 100 times. We already have the faithful. Now you got to keep the faithful, right? But your biggest buck, your biggest opportunity for growth is not with the faithful.
Yeah. Tom Anus may never have been Kings of War master, but I think he is a master fisherman. He knows
he's great. He's great. I like that guy. He's all right in my book. Yeah. We've got Idiot 2 Brown. After payday. That's great. You want to take Eddie?
I don't have a massive preference, but it would be good to get clear communication on when it's likely to make an appearance so I can plan my painting.
We got Matthew Temple says, no, so this is interesting. He's a homer here in the sense that he's helping run the U.S. Masters next year. Since the U.S. Master Tournament will be July 11th and 12th in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I would like to see 4th drop in December or July. This gives us time to adjust to a new edition. So essentially, it's either going to, if it's December, he's thinking that we would use it at Masters this next year, or if it's in July, it would punt it to next year. Yeah. We got some comments we got to bring up. So, high praise from the Double Master for Mr. Tom Ennis, the best Keo. Yeah. 100%. And then we've got Adrian says, agreed a timeline. I think that's what there's a motif in a lot of these comments. People just want to know like communication. Like, what is the timing? Are we talking about?
And we've agreed, Rob. It's Grandmaster. Once you win Masters twice, you're a
grand. It's like a chess thing. Got it.
Exactly. So it's now he is our first Grandmaster.
I just don't agree with the timeline thing. No company does that. Not until it's close. They only need a 6-week window of promotion. You don't want to promote before you can.
No, you're right. You're right. But if it's 6 months out or 3 months out,
have to be ready to go when they start promoting, so people can impulse buy. So like, they should only do it 4 to 6 weeks before it comes out, in my opinion.
Whenever people can pre-order the thing, they should be,
I mean,
right
so
before that,
4 to
right?
6 weeks notice is all people need, or is all they should give, and because you need to be able to go, oh, it's coming soon.
I wonder if, I don't know. In the past, Mantic has been pretty good about maybe not clear communication, but they are communicating, right? And I wonder if it's gone to our heads a little bit too, and we expect, I don't know. I mean, I guess, like, I'm just thinking Warlord just came out with 3rd edition of Bolt Action, right? And there was a hype train there, but I just don't know. I have to go back and look. I'm trying to think how, like, did they must have at some point gave them specific dates when these things were going to drop.
Yeah. I mean, my feeling is that they will communicate, but the problem probably is that they're not 100% certain on the date. They might be 90%, but they're not going to give it till they're 100%.
Right. Well, and that's good advice. Like, don't go off half-cocked, right? Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I'm. That's exactly what.
Well, and that's a good point too. I think in that specific case, maybe not dissimilar for some of the things War Machine went through. That an edition change can also kill a game because the rules change so substantially a lot. Like the changes are so substantial that you lose a critical mass of the player base. So, yeah. No, agreed, Adrian. I think you and Matt are speaking the same thing. We do have Michael Longman who says, I don't feel we need a 4th, but if it's coming, I don't think it matters when the changes come. It matters what they are, maybe. It'd be interesting too. I don't know all these people personally, but I just wonder too. Like, I assume there's a difference between the competitive player, and maybe the more casual. Like, if I was a casual player, which I'm probably maybe more casual than competitive, it's probably not as big deal to me, right?
About a 4th edition more than competitive. It's. I think it's the people playing a lot and competitively that probably feel it's a bit stale.
Yeah,
I would imagine. Yeah. John Port, JPFJ, September, October, so I can actually have time to play it before my daughter is born, but also would be good to inject some hype into the game. Didn't know his wife was pregnant.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
That can seem a bit crass, but edition changes are usually big news to the outside community, can really generate interest. Little Clash of Kings updates that all share the same name with the tournament too don't make a splash in the outside gaming world. That's fair. When the final product is an improvement on the existing game and all the armies are in relative balance, then it's ready for release. Radical changes to the core rules or a lot of the added complexity needs lots of play testing. I certainly don't think we'll be getting added complexity.
I don't. Yeah, that's not unless Ronnie. First of all, I don't think Ronnie would do this, but you're not going to get complexity from Alessio unless you ask for it, right? You have to. You're paying him, but you're gonna have to twist his arm. If anything, it's going to go the other way, right? We've got David Musgrave says, echoing many comments, when it's ready, fully play tested, proofread, and supported by a couple of ranges of new updated models, orcs, dwarves, elves, and undead. Between Clash of Kings and Christmas as a time frame, sounds okay to be next year. So I like the message about it is important to have new models, right? Because ultimately, let's just be honest, I don't think you make a lot of money selling the rule book. I think model ranges, and they've come a long way. We need them. We need more armies. I know me personally. I'm going to say it again. I need my Commandant.
Well, I still stand by this. A good rule set is important, but models sell games. I mean, look at 40K, which that rule system is a nightmare. Better than what it's been, but so to me, it's like you can't make an amazing rule set and not produce any killer models and expect it to. You got to have models as a component of it.
Well, it's interesting. I'm looking at Tom's comment, and I'm wondering. Well, let me read the comment, and then I'll share what I was going to say. In the UK, it feels like many have put Kings of War on hold until the new edition drops. Lots of focus on other games, Firefight, Halo, Epic Warpath. At some point, this is only temporary, and Kings of War will be the focus again. I think it would be better for Mantic to give a realistic date when they believe all play testing, typos, etc., will have been completed. If this is next year, it will allow people to engage fully with other games. If it's this year, then great, we can hype it up. I think this is going to sound crazy, and Jeremy can't answer this because he'll get in trouble, but I don't think we have enough play testing or play testers. Not to say it. The other games that I play testing groups are a lot bigger. Now, I guess the argument is the games are bigger, but I don't know. In the past, Mantic has been super, super, super secretive to the point where you're in an echo chamber at that point. So I don't know. But I agree with what Tom's saying. I think there is some of this that Mantic makes so many other games. And maybe that's the point, too, that should be made is that this is not a company. Like, I'll give you an example. I'm not, no particular reason, but the game Moonstone, right? I think that's the only game from that company, right? Infinity, Warcrow from Corvus Belli, they only make a few games. Like, to Mantic's credit, they make a lot of games. And
Conquest, right? Parabellum. Conquest.
There you go. Another one.
That's all that they make.
Yeah. So when you're comparing those to Mantic, they make a lot of games, and you know what? Right or wrong, they don't always get all the support for. There's not enough love to spread around to all the different people.
And the other thing that's in favor of Mantic is, I will say, of those that have also made rank and flank. I know our group is small, but they do have the longevity as it stands of maintaining a player base where most of those other games not. Like, we've seen a massive drop off in things like Conquest locally. Yeah. Mantic, somehow managed to maintain at least a significant portion of their player group.
Yeah. Well, next up we got Nick Brooks. He says, if fourth was to drop, I would love. Not if, Nick. It's coming. Come on, Nick. You're so fatalist. Come on.
Don't listen to Tom Anus. Have your own ideas.
Yes. Just because you're in Texas doesn't mean you're going to follow Tom. If fourth was to drop, I would love. By the way, shout out those that are listening. Put your seatbelt on for Wednesday. We turn the mics over to Texas, and it's a wild ride. I mean, there's going to be a really tall stack of hot takes. I mean, you're going to go home completely full. So, anyways, if fourth was to drop, I would love it to be after the 2026 Masters. Gives third one last big hurrah and hypes up many of the old guard while also being in a spot where lots of folks typically have off work, school, giving new players time to hop into the new system. But that aside, I don't want Mantic to rush out the new edition. I want them to take as much time as needed to present us a polished version of King's War. We had that episode like a million years ago where we talked about like that complete package where you go to the store and you buy the box, you take the box home. That's what we need. We need like really great rules, some really killer models. Like we need my heart needs to stop when I see it. I'm like, oh my God, you got to get the defibrillator out. That's what we need here. I don't want like a limp. Here's the new rule book, Also, 100%. I'm going to say this now. In the past, they would release the book and then the digital comes later. Those days are over, brother. You cannot do that anymore. You have got to go day one, rule book and digital all at the same time. You have been force feeding. Yeah, same day. Because you have been feeding us, and I bought off on it, like digital. Well, all right, I'm on digital. I don't think I should have to wait.
Yeah. So the other thing that I don't want to see is 2 books anymore. The armies have been
just give us one rule book. I don't need army books, brother. One book. Now they've already corrected that by pulling out the lore, which some people don't like the fact that. But like the reality is, I also don't want a 700-page rule book. All right, let's get into Randy Davis. I have to get close to read this.
I like this one. So,
all right, you want to take it, Matt? Go ahead.
As much as when it's ready feels like a cop out, I really think it's the best answer. I would much rather the rule set be finished and ready for release than to be rushed in to meet an arbitrary date. Will it be perfect? Of course not. We'd never need cock updates or errata, which I think is a really important point. It's 100% not going to be perfect, so don't expect it. That being said, if we wanted to pick a date, generate some hype and make a spectacle of it, announce it at Adepticon, giveaway starter rule books, I think Mantic would do well to capitalize on the event. That's not a bad.
Yeah, I would say though, we've done that before when Age of Sigmar was coming out, right? And Warhammer Fantasy was dying. They went to the ETC and they gave out a lot of rule books, and it didn't get anywhere. So I think being generous is a great idea, but you got to market it to the right audience, right? You got to market to people that are gonna take it in the spirit in which you've given it. So, yeah, let's go to the next one here. So we got Rory Quinn, middle of 2026 is what I have in mind. I don't get the sense that there will be a surprise drop in the remainder of 2025 or even Q1 2026. You know what's funny? I would just love to know where the speculation is coming from. because if I recall correctly, the new edition has always dropped in the fall or the winter. It's always been there, right? I mean, I guess it could be next
I can't
fall.
remember if it followed their clash. I'd be more betting that given that there is no clash, and that's like that timeline is an expectation of the community also, that I wouldn't mind betting that we get a 1 month lead in, and then it's a similar timeline. But I don't know. I think they could do that, but then there's every chance that it's not ready.
So he also
and relying on things like production too, right?
Yeah.
What we don't know is,
again, pick a release date that you can achieve, and pick a release date, not the date that we start shipping.
Well, we've seen Epic being pushed back a long way, so obviously there are some production issues at the moment.
Right. So Rory also says the start of next year would probably be unwise, as people are skint after Christmas in many cases. When it drops, I hope they make it feel big and epic, not just one starter set, maybe one flagship one, and then a couple of other releases around it. I'd like to see some lore progression, the story arc for Panathor. I'll take the next one. That's our buddy Matt from Memphis. He says, I would love to also hear more about their roadmap for new model releases. Now, this is interesting coming from Matt. Matt is I think at this point, almost 100% 3D printed army guy. But his attitude is like, if you give me an army that I like, I'm going to buy it, right? He's got money. He's not doing it to be cheap. He just likes the 3D. So, I think there's something, Matt and Jeremy, maybe they're not able to give the roadmap for the rules, but man, it'd be sure as heck nice to know, here's the next 4 armies on the slate. I always think they're probably worried about tipping their hands to competitors, right? And have somebody do it.
Previous point about multiple army sets, but I would like to see more variety in box sets in general, because if they've got the models, all they have to change is the cardboard, right, and pack them differently. I feel there's a little bit too much rigidity for me in army boxes. You end up with too much stuff and too much crossover between the army 100%. And the mega army.
I'll take the next one because Jeff did not answer our question, so I'll pull from it something useful. Sorry, Jeff. He's an engineer. Usually, he's very good at reading questions. But the thing I'll take away from his comment is, he brings up that 4th edition needs to be distinct, right? It's got to have something that everybody goes, oh, I like that. That's cool. That's something we didn't have before. Think Bolt Action 1st edition when they had the alternating activations with the dice being pulled out of the bag. That was something novel, right? And what is that going to be for 4th edition? I'm not sure, But, he brings up the fact that we've tried a few things, new scenarios and command dice, and they sort of fallen flat. So,
Jeremy, didn't you say they're taking away pre-measuring?
you're not going to slip on that. All right. Our favorite man down by the river. A comment from our favorite man down by the river, George O'Connell. He says, I would love to see an Xmas release. Nothing would be sweeter than 4th edition under the tree.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, he's waiting for Ronnie to be dressed up as Santa Claus to deliver 4th edition. Matt, you want to take Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan. I would personally like to see it by the end of the year. 3rd is now as old as 2nd was when we made the transition. As for why I believe it would be good for players in Mantic to transition to the next edition, it will allow Mantic to extract more revenue from this IP, which would give some new life to the production crew. As for the benefit to players, new editions are always an opportunity for growth and or bringing in players. I think opportunity is the key word there. Opportunity countered with risk.
Yeah.
Mr. Michael Adkins, last December, the last clash doesn't seem to have done much to keep the community interested. Mantic might be printing money with Halo, and good for them if they are, but they dropped the ball in Kings in the process.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are you seeing growth? I mean, I'm seeing growth here, but it's not as fast as I would like to see. But definitely we are getting players. What's that?
We're not.
Okay. Okay. We got Carson says 2030. No need for another new edition. Don't do the GW style with new rules all the time. Well, I wouldn't classify every 5 years. Or it was 2019 was the last time we had 3.5? I think, right? Am I wrong? It was 2015 and 3rd edition.
And like you said, Rob, it has been since 2nd evolution, not revolution.
Right.
2nd and 3rd was barely anything, a tiny change in the scheme of how editions could change. Mo Bakia. Personally, I'd like it when we could have expected Clash 26 this year, but only if it's ready. Gabe Toth, this fall instead of Clash of Kings book, please. We have bleeding players and GTs. Where's Gabe from?
I think he's Mid-Atlantic, same place. I think he's same place as Michael Atkins, that general area.
Yeah. Eric Schaefer, November.
And he's from Mid-Atlantic as well.
Mm.
Keep going. You're on a roll.
Yep. Scott Salee, when it's been played, tested, and proofread, so minimal errata needed, ideally in time for this to be modified before Masters. Jason Murray, when it's ready to be released as a fully working rule set with at least 3 to 4 months of rigorous playtesting to confirm most all the bugs have been eliminated. Aaron Kingham, I'd like to see it around late December, early January, but we need an edition drop that doesn't need errata within the first week to be functional. Get the editors to scrutinise it, get the rules team to break it, and someone to make sure it's still the same easy to learn but hard to master game.
Marshall, keep going. You're jamming.
After they've finished all the new Ophidian models and they've play tested the game with no optional rules.
That's a good point. I don't like optional rules, and I agree with them. I don't want optional rules.
What do we think? Surely.
No, right? Is withdraw going to be in the game? What do you think? I'm going to guess withdraw's not needed because they're going to fix the bounce back.
My guess is we will get a different mechanic. I think in rank and flank there seems to be a strong desire always about separation in some form. So I think I can't imagine it'll be there.
Next up, we have Erasmus. He says, my preference is when it's ready. I want the best edition Mantic can deliver, even if I have to wait. I'm not sure that's practical, though. I doubt that a release this year would have it at its best. With everything Mantic is going on, not that I'm in a position to know. Well, I mean, I think we can just look on the outside and see all the effort that's put into Halo, and it's not going to blow anybody's socks off to know that that's probably a lot of the resources going over there. But the cat is out of the bag. The cat is out of the rumor bag. There seems to be a lull in interest with fourth looms in people's minds. I mean, maybe that was the mistake to even bring it up, right? Don't even talk about it. Because Ronnie specifically talked about it at Adepticon with us, right? I mean, that was, and I believe even Kyle may have mentioned it. So we've known it's coming.
Yeah, I'm going to have to drop guys.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you taking the time down under. I know you're probably in the middle of a work day. You probably have clients out there piling up. I need my arm adjusted. I don't know. I'm making up.
Trying to stay warm, right? Because it's like the winter there.
He's got a sweater on. I'm like dying up here with the air conditioner running because it's like 105 degrees today. Well, come on, guys.
Wow.
With the heat index. All right, so then we've got Rob Clark says Mantic seems to have so much going on. I'm not sure another edition should be a priority. That said, if it's coming, then it needs to be play tested to death. Also, not before Mantic employ a proofreader. I think the problem is they do employ proofreaders. They just don't know how to do it. I don't know, because they always say it's proofread, but like I am a technical writer at work a lot, and I catch that stuff right away. Stephen DeRose says when it's ready and not a moment sooner. I want them to get it right, not rush. Let's see, we got a comment here. Yeah, agreed, Adrian. I think, I mean, what they could have done was to take focus away from third edition. They could have just started pumping out models, right? And just put the focus on the models. Adrian Scott says, "Oh, speak of the devil. Did he do two? Do we have two from Adrian?
Yeah, I think we got a couple.
Always see these guys double dipping.
Yeah.
But as soon as they have a hot new Imperial Dwarf range to add to my already oversized army. But seriously, though, I'm not in a hurry right now. I've got plenty to paint with Firefight, Dead Zone, and Warpath, so I don't need to be distracted by a new edition of Kings of War. If the next Clash of King update at the end of this year can really shake things up enough, I'll happily wait until the mid or late 2026. Ian Kane has some great. Okay, so he's saying he's like, look, officer, I was not speeding.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. So Ian says, for me, it really doesn't matter. We spent 6 months playing Kings of War Armada campaign, and now we're mostly playing World War II games. This is probably much more important to those who only play one game than to someone who has other games they play as well. I'm not sure I will even buy the new book. I have an all-in Mantic app subscription, so when the rules come out, I should just be able to get them that way. In the interim, I'll still go to the odd Dead Zone and Armada event. Mantic's number 1 and 2 rules in my view. So interesting. When he said that, I did ask him a supplemental question. I said, you'd be the perfect person to ask. I just want to know, like, would he be upset if they delayed the release of the new rules and army lists digitally? like the book comes out, let's just say in a month, 2 months later, it comes there. And his basic response was, no, I think it'd be fine. So I don't know. I'd be curious to hear other people's take on that.
I got to be right back.
Yep. And then we've got Kevin Cook. He says, hopefully before I finish modeling and basing all my undead units, only for them to be removed from the game. I think you're fine if you're, to be fair, I used to play undead in first edition, and they did remove units from the game. So they used to have a 10 wide by 3 deep zombie, or it was a ghoul. It wasn't called a horde. I can't remember, but it was 3 deep. And then when second edition came out, now it had to be 4 deep. So I had to rebase them all. They also changed whites from 25s to what are they on now? 40s. Mark Zielinski, I'm not even going to read your comment because you didn't respond to the question. You gave a speculation, not when you wanted to see it. So Asante Russ says, I like it when we have a planned yearly dates that are consistent. That sets up everyone's expectations and schedules. For me, November, December is a good time. It's at the end of the year when there is not a lot going on due to the holidays. If major rewrite is to occur, which in my mind should not happen due to steady progression of yearly updates, then you should take a year off, a year or two to design and play test. You should the argument that he would make is they should have been doing 4th edition for like the last couple of years, which I don't disagree. You would just the off year with a FAQ, the Clash of Kings or PDF. We are in the 3rd edition, and to be honest, I'm not sure how much of a major rewrite you need. In the past, I've seen games make big changes in games, and it tanked the game. He's got some examples there that War Machine's the one that I would call to as well. And I think Malifaux even had that as well. Hey, look at the timing. Russ is on while we're chatting about his comment. So beware. I think he's just saying tread carefully. Kings of War to me seems like in a good place. Maybe we can get a handle on some of the magic, command dice, magic items, magical spells. To me, there seems some confusion on why we need 3 ways to do the magic. This guy's always speaking to the choir, man. Like, I make this joke, but we don't need 3 ways to get Pathfinder, right? Like, 1 way will do. So we do have Jats Turk. He says, my thoughts on 4th edition launch are they have a big chance here to make a big impact across the rank and flank genre, either positively or negatively. So the key to all of this is ensuring that play testing has been sufficiently conducted to ensure a smooth game experience. Then the marketing and model line needs to be of the same production value as the recent Champions release. Rush things and put out a suboptimal product requiring lots of errata is going to alienate the players who love the game and put off those who are looking at it. Get your Pathfinders involved early with hyping the release, at least 3 to 6 months. Give a timeline as to where you are at and where we are going. Lean into the strengths of Mantic, clean rule set, hobby basing, the game's current longevity. Bring your old models to try. I mean, I'll be honest, Jats, they're never going to say the game is figure agnostic. I mean, every game is figure agnostic. It's up to the players in the community. You're right. They did say that when we came out of the box and they only had a couple army ranges. They did sell it as bring your old Warhammer models. But at this point, we're not getting, I don't know about you, Jeremy. I don't think the growth is going to come from Warhammer.
Well, and then that wasn't like bring your own models full stop. It was bring your stuff, try the game out, and if you love it, buy one of our armies, invest in our game,
So he has a very good point that I really agree with, which is my biggest fear is they rush it out, and it's so crippled with errors, unbalanced, untested content that it goes the way of many other games who sprint before they can run. If it looks and smells like a cash grab, like many other Mantic, other game systems currently, I don't think Halo is a cash grab. Maybe it is. I don't know. I like it. I'd be curious what other games you're talking about. I mean, I guess 40K, right? Which is a Chase the Dragon kind of game. It will fail. Look after the community and it will look after you. I mean, the big thing is, I would say, is he's bringing up a good point, which is our community is a little different. We're a different audience than some of the general other games that, some of the other, the 40K scene or the old X-Wing scene or some of, you know what I mean? So I think I would like to think they understand that community and that they'll cater the message correctly to that. But Patrick Zorro Allen, if you haven't listened to the podcast, I love this man very much. What a great game that I had with him at Best of the Rest. Late 2026, we had a Clash of Kings last year. 1 year of writing and play testing is not enough. Good. I mean, coming from a rules committee member, right? Ex-rules committee member. I wish they do a couple of open beta days at Clash of Kings UK, Australia, and Adepticon, where they allow players to play test the latest rules. It builds hype and give good feedback. Those are great ideas. And our final comment is just, please, for the love of all that is sacred and holy to the dice gods, Mantic, read these replies. Hey, maybe Ronnie might listen to this.
What's interesting to me, Rob, is there's one thing to have a debate about when an edition should come out. What's interesting to me is that there's way more responses around people who are saying there doesn't need to be a new edition.
Or the opposite. It's polarized, right? Some are saying it's stale, we're losing players, we need a new edition. And some players are saying, we think it's fine, leave it alone.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is I think that's like, I think new editions are just a part of game systems that last, whether or not, I mean, I think the failures of new editions fall smaller than all the big game systems have new editions as part of their overall, like, long-term long-term health plan. Having a new edition usually is a good thing.
I going back to Adrian's previous comment, I think, at this point they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. They've let the cat out of the bag maybe too early. And so now we're all like, okay, you said it's coming. When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? And now we're in this downward death spiral until the damn thing comes out. So I don't know. They're in an unenviable. I mean, in one hand, they're in an unenviable position about satisfying their existing customers. But if they knock it out of the park with new models and great rules, it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be what do they say? Let us live in interesting times, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we appreciate you guys taking the time to chat with us about this tonight. We sort of this was going to be on our upcoming fireside for August, but obviously we just crossed 10 years, and we thought, you know what, it's probably better to acknowledge that and get your feedback on how you found the podcast. And so, just a reminder, we do have that topic of the month posted on Facebook, and it is on the forum. So if you are a Kings of War forum person, go in there. I put a little comment about, hey, here's the questions we want to ask. And there's already 4 to 5 comments there. So feel free. We're going to aggregate those together. We're going to pull them all together, and we'll share them in our next fireside, which will drop on August 31st at the end of the month. So, but yeah, I think this has been fun, Jeremy. I don't know if we learned anything other than there's a lot of diversity of opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. I mean, I think if there's takeaways, I heard a takeaway: if you're going to do it right. Yeah. Don't. And then some people who love the game as it is, and I think it just comes down to people fear change, right? Even when the change is amazing. So it's just going to be, and we always talk about like people, wargamers' second favorite hobby after wargaming is to complain about wargaming. So, but I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see sort of how the cookie crumbles.
It would be curious too. We asked you when you wanted to see it. I maybe we have to do a poll on the Facebook group to say, when do you actually think it's going to come? Right. Yeah. It would be curious to see, number one, when is the predominant thought of when it's going to hit, but also those are two different things. When I want it to come, but when I think it's going to come. And I'd be curious to, how different that would be for each person,
Mm-hmm. And with any community, in a playtest community, you're going to have people with different opinions, right? Yeah. Some people like this, some people like it. And in the end, playtesters can give their opinions all day, but in the end, Mantic is going to decide what Mantic wants to do. I just know there are a lot of people involved with Fourth who really love and care about the game. And I think that is one of the biggest positives going in, is that there are a lot of people working on it who truly want it to be the best possible version it can be. And then it's just trying to get all the different ingredients together from a lot of different cooks to come up with, get your melting pot simmering with that delicious flavor.
I have no concern about the rules itself. I think Alessio's going to knock it out of the park. I think, if he's given the reign to do what he's always done, which is be a professional rules designer, whether, talking back to the Skaven Army book in 6th edition, Warhammer, or Lord of the Rings, the Middle-earth game, or Bolt Action, or Turbinator, like all the games he's done over the years, like he's consistently given us wonderful rules. I think the concern I always am going to have is we got 28 armies, guys. Like, I don't know, they're going to have enough time to get through all, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And what I would say is, I think you've got to come out. To me, I think you've got to come out of the box with a complete game.
I think it's a competitive market. And I think that when you release really awesome products, they do well. But when it's just a competitive market, right? So I think you got to try to release things that are top notch, which I think that they're going to try to do. So
yeah, that's the one area, because I don't think playtesting the rules per se is the hard part. It's balancing the armies, right? Internal balance within the list and then among the lists is the hard part. And that's always been the difficulty, right? Very
a lot of
times
moving pieces.
The erratas and stuff are not typically about the rules. It's about some specific thing that's happening with the interaction within an army, or between armies. Yeah. So appreciate the kind words, Russ. We appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Jeremy, final thoughts?
Yeah, just play Kings, man. I think I'm hoping a new edition is always a great opportunity to get the game in front of new eyes. And that's really what I'm going to be trying to focus on when the new edition comes out, is how can we get it in front of good eyes. I think continue to grow our marquee events, like continue to have a really strong presence at Adepticon. The Adepticlash this year was really great. So how do we continue to build that? Continue to get eyes on Masters. And so I think that's part of it, is to, again, continue that philosophy that put your money where your mouth is. And if you love Kings and want to see it grow, be part of the change you want to see. So a new edition is a good opportunity for us to refocus around like our mission with the game. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. And I think be on the lookout. Texas is let loose on next Wednesday. So we have a great episode. I think off the top, it's
not all opinions presented in this episode are those of the Countercharge team.
Correct. And to be fair, we got a few guys that are big on hot. I mean, just think of who in Texas would give you the hottest takes. Jesse Garrett would be one of them.
Not afraid to share his opinion.
He's not afraid to share it. So good on him too. But yeah, so join Hulk and Company next week. So with that, I think that's going to do us tonight. Until next time, keep countercharging. Thanks, everybody.